Eamon, answer me this. Why would Steven Gerrard even think about going to manage Rangers for 1/2 second?
Because I think it's a great opportunity to manage a big club, a big institution, to prove himself that he's capable of developing that club. And I think it's very brave and very smart in a way, because he could be sitting in the television studio like a lot of other former players, great players, some of them like Frank Lampard and Rio Ferdinand, people like that. He's actually going out to work and learn how to run a football club, or to actually coach a big team. Now, at the moment, they're not a big team, but they're a big club. They will get an investor, and I admire him. I must say, I do really admire the fact that he's going out to work, not like Ryan Giggs, who's waiting forever to get some sort of cushy number, and we'll find out what happens to him when he tries to manage Wales, or Gary Neville, or other people. He's going to a real club, and I admire him hugely.
Really? Okay, because I was looking at this going, why? I mean, they're a basket case, Rangers, at the moment. They've no money. Their fans, demand that, even like you can see when Celtic beat them 5-0 in the league over the weekend, that the fans were losing the plot, thinking that their team were actually better than they are. I just thought, God, for your first job in management, it's a huge risk.
Beat them in the to Rangers, and they were a bigger and stronger club at that point. But somewhere along the road, they are what used to be known as a sleeping giant. They are a sleeping giant. Rangers is a huge club in Scotland, bigger than Celtic. I mean, it's the club of the whole nation, and that rivalry is huge. And if they get an investor, which I think they will, to be going into Europe, he'll get a lot of experience there. I really do admire him for making what looks like, a leap in the dark, but I think he's an intelligent guy, and I think he should be saluted for taking what's a challenging job, without any doubt. But if he does it, then he could come back and manage Liverpool.
That's the trouble for him, Hugh, is they're so far behind Celtic now. They're just. I watched the game the other day. I watched the game, the Cup semi-final a couple of weeks ago, and they were a disgrace. Players coming off, roaring and shouting at the manager. They're really poor on and off the pitch. They're a shambles at the moment, Rangers. Hibs are ahead of them now on the table as well.
Can he make a difference then, Steven Gerrard?
Yeah, possibly, and people might look at that, because even I was seeing Alan Shearer last night was suggesting that the only way is up.
Shearer said it's a no-brainer for him to take it.
Possibly, Hugh, but they're so far behind. Brendan Rodgers has done such an amazing job with Celtic in the last 3 seasons. They're on course to win a treble. It's unbelievable what he's done, the brand of football to play. They're so far ahead of Rangers now that it would take years for Gerrard to get them back anywhere near close to. It
does seem like it'd be a long-term project, Eamon. He's going to need money.
That's even more credit to him. He's prepared to take on a difficult task, and Brendan Rodgers has done a brilliant job. And I watched the match at the weekend, and they play amazing football. There's some very good players. Tierney, in particular, is an outstanding player who could play in the Premier League. But for the most part, the players are what would be considered in Premier League terms journeymen. They're not uncatchable. And I admire Gerrard for going out into real work rather than taking the money from a television company and talking for the next however many years he could do it. He's a legend as a player. I think he's shown real courage.
I'm not sure as well.
Sinnes has set a template there. Sinnes went there and did good work. He won, I think, 4 or 5 titles. He usually tells me when I meet him. And,
Walter Smith was the best influence in that club. He won everything with them.
Yeah,
and they're a million miles.
They get an investor.
They're a million miles off that, and to suggest that they're a bigger club than Celtic as well, Eamon, like seriously.
Well, I'm talking about Scotland, Alan.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near. How can you say they're a bigger club than Celtic?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because historically, Celtic were always the challengers, the outsiders, the underdogs. Because I don't want to get sectarian about this, there are more Protestants in Scotland than there are Catholics, and Celtic were always the underdogs in all kinds of ways. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think they've done okay if that was the case. You look at what they've done in Europe, European Cups, league titles. Celtic are a phenomenal club, and they always have been all over the years, and they're bigger than Rangers.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
What happens, but I don't see how you can accuse Gerrard of anything other than having, the guts and the sense, I think, to go and manage a very big club with a great history and take the challenge on.